What is up, guys? It's that GTA fan 720 with yet another video. I've got a couple news stories I want to post throughout the week. There's a third one I want to get that I'm still trying to find. The second one is one where a girl was basically almost accused of trying to counterfeit a $2 bill to pay for chicken nuggets. That's crazy. And here's another stupid story. So basically, a mayor denies the idea of discriminating against a councilman who was forced to resign because he was a furry. So, say what you want about anybody in this, but do you honestly think the big picture that I'm trying to get at with this story, and I'll have a link for this in the description, is should we honestly expect people in any type of political stance to not have hobbies, let alone ones that are fairly tame? And yes, I know there's a lot of stigma about a lot of different hobbies. Like for example, for video games, there's the hobby of the 40-year-old virgin who's sitting in his parents' basement playing video game, playing Call of Duty and eating Doritos, playing Mountain Dew on Xbox. So if there's a stigma for something, that people are going to bring it up. And the thing that kills me about this article, and this is a relatively new article, it's posted on September 10th, 2017. So it's literally a brand new article. And it was posted on this website. And I saw it on another website too, but I absolutely hated the way that website was talking about it. So, and I don't even see that website. So, this one's a little bit better. Because this actually has some details that the other one conveniently left out. So a Connecticut town councilman, and yes, I'm basically reading this verbatim because you guys can tell that I'm not making this crap up. So a Connecticut town councilman was forced to resign after discoveries of his interest in the furry subculture was not unfairly discriminated against, the town's mayor says. New Milford Councilman Scott Chamberlain, a Democrat, resigned Friday after initially defending his role in the community of people interested in animal roleplay. My page is refusing to scroll because it's being stupid. Quote, "It's nothing to do with sex, it's an interest in cartoon animals," he told the Danbury New Times Thursday as screenshots circulated of his profile on a furry web forum. Mayor David Grombach demanded and ultimately received his resignation, saying officials should be held to a higher standard. Grombach would not address whether he believes being a furry disqualifies someone from public office, but denied leading that charge to oust Chamberlain because of distaste for the subculture. The mayor told the Washington Examiner in an email that he objected only to a list of interests that Chamberlain allegedly posted to the forum, on which Chamberlain reportedly indicated that he tolerates rape. The resignation was prompted not from being a member of any community, but the expressions of likes and tolerates that were disclosed, said Grombach, also a Democrat, in an email. He declined to elaborate, but said the details have been reported in the Danbury New Times. The controversial page of Chamberlain's interest was on the website sofurry.com, according to a person who responded to report a question sent to town government email accounts. And I've been on that website, and because I was doing some research for this article, and there's nothing bad on that website, at least that I saw. I mean, granted, I only literally went to the homepage, but still, like there's nothing objectionable about that website. It's literally just like any other, furry fandom oriented website. It's just basically like, hey, you like animal stuff, post your art and stuff here. So that's basically what it is. And by the way, why are we still under the stigma that furries are just people who are interested in sex? That's never made sense to me. I mean, I know why, because there's obviously some explicit stuff, but that's not the main representation of the entire community. Going back to the video game example, there's not 80% of gamers are not people who sit in their mom's basement and play Call of Duty while drinking Mountain Dew. That's just the facts. The actual statistics, and people have done research on this, and including in the furry fandom as well. But, it's not everything is, what you hear about it in a negative light. Now, am I saying that there's no video game players who sit in their mom's basement and are 40 years old and don't contribute to society? Yes, that's obviously the case. There are some people who are going to be an exception to the rule, just like with furries. There's going to be some people who, no matter what interests they have, they're going to take it too far. Now, the way I see it is if you have any type of hobby, moderation is a good thing that you should naturally be following. Some people are so impacted by one fandom or one community or whatever it is that they don't really branch off into other things, and they could have a negative light added to it, especially if it gets to the point where it can impact someone's other lives, if you know what I mean. So basically, there's people who are going against this person because he supposedly tolerates rape, and I'll get to that in a second, because you might be thinking, how can you dismiss someone who tolerates rape? That's awful. Yes, it is. I don't understand how anyone could tolerate rape. But let me get into a certain point that wasn't brought up in the other article, the identical version of this. So basically, the person using a Gmail account did not identify themselves but claimed not to be a local government official. A grainy cell phone screenshot of a list consisted of the local papers reported show the controversial interests. Dozens of terms, including vampire, Pokemon, and bikini, along with rape, were listed as one of the 4 categories: loves, likes, tolerates, and hates. Chamberlain told the New Times that these categories were basically a search feature, and they are. I've been on that site. It's just a search feature. Now, I have not seen rape on that website, listed anywhere. And, I don't know where this... And plus, this is kind of like Unfriended. Did you guys see the movie Unfriended? Where they showed the picture that someone took of her Facebook profile where she was supposedly telling the other girl to kill herself before she did it. And everyone was like, oh my God, Blair. I think her name was Blair. They were like, oh my God, Blair, you dumb bitch. How dare you tell her to kill herself? And yeah, that's bad, but people aren't thinking about the entire situation. They're just thinking about, I have this feeling that I need to express, because if I don't express this feeling in a negative or positive way, one way or the other, then people are going to look down upon me, which I can understand. If you're reading this article and you say, and the mayor says, you want this person to resign, don't you? You don't tolerate rape, don't you? And then normal average Joe says, well, obviously I don't. Well, then other people who actually think rationally said, well, no, I don't, but is that the actual point here? Obviously, your answer either way is no, but there was no, from what I saw of my own research, I did not see any markings of anything explicit on this website. And you can go to this website yourself, sofurry.com. If you're really like, oh, well, this is probably a bad website. It's not. Okay, it's not really my thing, but still, it's just a website. So, grainy cell phone screenshots. And that's the thing, whether it be a screenshot or something else, you know how easy it is to Photoshop that? This is from an anonymous person who clearly had something against Chamberlain. And I do not know these people. This is just me simply saying, maybe there's another side to this. Maybe this is something that was brought up. Obviously, yes, Chamberlain is a furry. He said that in the past. He's been open about that in the past, which I can respect. I don't care what interests you have. If you're upfront with it, especially if it's something that's controversial like this. And again, I still don't understand why being a furry is controversial, but for some reason it's still considered taboo to some people. So, being open about your hobbies, to me, that says someone who can be trusted more, because they're being more open. They're not hiding things, especially if you're a government official. If you're someone who's expected to be trusted in a type of situation like this. However, here's the thing. This screenshot, there's no evidence of this screenshot that I've seen, and this is supposedly sent from a grainy cell phone, so probably not even a good cell phone, which I don't know if that's really relevant, but still, you might even just be making, it could be so bad, you might just be making out the letters wrong. Maybe it says rope. I mean, yeah, it sounds stupid, but rope, that's a legitimate word. I mean, whatever. You get my point. So, researchers who study the furry subculture say it's not surprising to see the controversy, which featured a protester at a local meeting Thursday with a sign that said, "No perverts running our town." Now, that man or woman or whoever that was holding up that sign that said, "No perverts running in our town," I'm trying to hold it away so I'm not deafing you guys. Ha! Yay! You're totally keeping perverts out of out of office because they like animal art. What? Okay. And yes, again, there is a stigma to the furry fandom. A lot of people think that it's nothing but people who have sex. You know, but the fact is that based on real world evidence, that is not the case. Obviously, like I said with the gaming example, there's going to be some exceptions to the rule. But you can't blindly assume that someone is something bad without hearing the other side of the story. That's the thing. It's like the same thing with Samsung. They have the Note 7s, they recalled them, and then everyone's saying, oh my god, Samsung, how can you do this? But they're not realizing what they did. It's the same thing with video games. You know, it's like people who say GTA 4 made this kid kill somebody. And then someone's saying, wait, but there's someone who's literally using a virtual reality headset to help someone in the medical field who can't go outside. Video games are the devil! I just sounded like Alex Jones right there. Oh my god, I hate myself now. Anyways, my point is that everything, people are so quick to make judgments about people in one instance or another. It doesn't have to be positive, it doesn't have to be negative, but if there's a misconception about something, it can cause a lot of headache for everybody involved. So this is another quote from this, and this is a quote of a quote. Many furries are forced to conceal their interests for precisely this reason: fear of public outrage or the belief that people will brand them as sexual deviant. Well, okay, first off, when do we get to the point where we're like, I see this so many times. Why do we care what somebody does in the privacy of their own home? Why are we so obsessed with that? I don't understand that, regardless of what it is. Like, I don't care what you do behind closed doors. That's not my business. That is not my business at all. Like, I don't need to know that information. But if you have a hobby, what the heck? Like, who knows? Maybe there's a bunch of furries who are thinking, I'm going to vote for this guy because he's one of us. Who knows? Or maybe like, you know, if there's like, I'm trying to think of like an example that isn't like similar to this. Like if someone likes baseball, I know like everybody likes baseball, but I'm trying to think like as an example, someone who likes, I don't know, computers, like a tech guy who is running for office in something, whether it be a mayor or, you know, whatever state, local thing. So he says, I like technology. These are my interests. I like technology. And then a lot of other people saying, I agree with this guy. We have similar interests. So I might listen to what he says on his campaign, and it might make me decide if I want to vote for him or not. As opposed to if he says, oh, well, I'm going to hide this because I don't think that people are going to like this, and people are going to brand me as being bad. So he obviously, in my opinion, took the right approach. He said, okay, yeah, you guys are asking. Yeah, I'm a furry. Who cares? And I mean, I am too. So if you have like any type of thing that has a negative stigma to it, you know, be it video games, be it violent music, be it being, you know, a member of a certain fandom, there's always going to be some people who ruin it for everybody else. Let's be honest. But that doesn't represent the majority. I know I'm harping on that over and over again. It's probably getting sick, but the fact is that I still don't understand why this is still an issue. So people immediately make the leap to pervert whenever they hear about furries without even knowing precisely what one is, or based solely on inaccurate media portrayals. It's the same thing with video games. Video games are making kids violent. There's no real world evidence of proving that. Oh, but I saw it on Fox News. I saw a story on Fox News that a kid played GTA and then shot his grandmother or something. But like, if you look at the actual studies, there have been decade-long studies that say video games have no positive or negative effect on these kids. Oh, research? Oh, evidence? Oh, no. I heard something on the news. I just heard something on the internet. I saw it on a Google search. I saw it on Fox News. I heard about it from a relative. It has to be true. Now, I have no problem with someone giving an opinion even if they're not properly informed. But the problem is that you need to accept the fact that if you didn't fact check your work, then you need to accept the fact that you might be wrong, dead wrong, regardless of what it is. So, Kathy Gerbasi, a New York-based researcher who works at Plant on the website firstscience.com, reviewed the forum on which Chamberlain posted and said it's not immediately clear to her what the interests mean in context. Quote, rape is a bad thing, but who knows if that's just a cover story about why they made him resign, she said. If it's just because the person was a furry, that's ridiculous. Exactly what I said earlier. We don't know 100% if this is even something that he made, because it came from a blurry screenshot that could have easily been photoshopped or altered in some way to show this information that could be damning to someone. Do you not realize that he's a politician and there's clearly someone on the other side who's trying to take him down? And obviously, if someone's open about a subject that some people find to be somewhat questionable, then throw in a controversial thing in there and try to make him resign. And unfortunately, whoever was behind this was unfortunately successful. And that's the most unfortunate part, is that this person lost his job because of the fact that someone essentially tried to frame him for being, supposedly liking rape. Plant added, we seldom bat an eye at those who regularly watch media featuring deviant sexual behavior, for example, rape in Game of Thrones, or violence, for example, fans of violent video games or sports like boxing or football. I added the football part. Chamberlain did not respond to a request for comment on whether he feels unfairly discriminated against, which I'm assuming he would, but I don't know. Maybe he feels like, oh, I guess it's my time. But told the New York Times that he'd just been open about his lifestyle and was just saddened by this whole thing, which I would be too. Can you imagine, if you're a person who's open with everyone and then someone uses that information against you, especially in a political sense? I can't imagine what he's going through. Now, obviously, because someone could say, oh, well, he was a corrupt politician. I don't really know. I haven't done enough research on this guy to know if he's a corrupt politician or not. But just based on the fact that he's open about his interests, he seems like a relatively, down-to-earth person. Again, just by the little bit that I've seen. I could meet him in person and think he's the biggest asshole in the world. But from what I see here, he seems like he's at least honest with himself and with everybody else. Again, exceptions to the rule can happen. So I think something that needs to be brought up here before I end this, and I know this is a really long video, but regardless of what you might perceive of somebody, like for example, if you see someone who's overweight, you might think, oh, well, they're just fat, they just need to exercise more and get right, when sometimes they might have a mental illness. Or you see someone who's constantly locked in the room playing video games. Maybe there's someone who was bullied. Or you see someone who's a furry. Maybe there's someone who just, had friends who was in that type of, activities, and they basically said, hey, this is cool, why don't you check this out? Regardless of, people will always judge based on first impressions. And that's just kind of the nature of it. People are always going to think about what they've experienced previously based on, a lot of times, false information. But that's just how it is. There's always going to be people who are going to misunderstand someone based on first impressions. Or even just based on their interests. Maybe they get to know them for a while and then they found out, oh, this person supports X political candidate. I hate them. Oh, this person likes, Pepsi instead of Coke. Oh, I hate them. Oh, this person likes PlayStation instead of Xbox. Oh, I hate them. Oh, this person has an iPhone and I have a Galaxy. Oh, I hate them. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. We're all people here. I know I'm not trying to be I know I'm preaching to the choir if I'm saying this, and I'm not trying to be like a pastor or something, but I'm just saying, I just want to get my thoughts out there because this is really, I'm kind of saddened by this whole thing too, because it's kind of crazy because as a furry, I haven't gotten too much hate, which is surprising. But at the same time, to be fair, I've already had a lot of mostly just people, especially in my old school, who would say a lot of nasty things to me. And it really got underneath my skin, but I usually tried to ignore it and tried to brush it off. A lot of people, when I listened to Nirvana, I had kids in my school who were literally walking up to me who I never saw before or again and said, you like Nirvana, go kill yourself. And, I know I don't mean to be morbid by saying that, but the fact is that there's always, no matter what you like. There's always going to be someone who hates you for it. So quit being fake. If you like a certain hobby, then go for it. Like, I know a lot of people, they think that I'm into anime. I'm not into anime. That's just not my thing. But, I like video games. I play video games. I'm obviously a huge tech head, and I collect a lot of, phone-related stuff like smartphones and computers, tablets, etc. Well, not really tablets, but you get the idea. I have my hobbies. And, my dad, he has his hobbies too. He collects Spawn comics. Are you going to sit here and tell me that he is a social outcast because he collects comic books? Now, thankfully, we're getting to the point where a lot of these niche hobbies are becoming more socially accepted, i.e. things like Comic-Con and E3 and, like PAX and like all these conventions, all these places, all these communities are getting a lot more socially accepted, which I like. And unfortunately, when we get to this transition, there's going to be some people who are going to resist that. There's going to be some people who are ill-informed and are going to still go by the stigma of a lot of hobbies or by people in general. So I just hope that we can understand that, don't like try to please everyone, because you're not going to please everyone. There's always going to be someone who just straight up hates you for no reason. That's just the unfortunate truth. But just, find your niche and go for it. Like there's just so many things. And I'm sorry if I'm like all over the place, but I just want to give my honest thoughts on this. So what are your guys' thoughts about this? Do you think he should have been forced to resign? Do you think there wasn't enough evidence? Do you just hate furries, so you instantly hate me and everything that I'm going to do? You're obviously one of them. But what are your thoughts? Drop them in the comments below. And if you guys want to hear about the counterfeit dollar bill middle school lunchroom story, then definitely drop a comment below and drop a like on this video if you want to see more videos like this of just me talking about, something that I want to give my opinion on, and then, playing something in the background, be it a video or game. Well, mostly like a game because copyright, stupid copyright. But anyway, guys, this is that GTA Fan 720 signing out. I hope you all have a good one.